Hey there, this is Benson again with Oehme Graphics, another installment of our video series, How We Do It. Today we are going to cover how to ship art in a flat package. Here I have a sample, just kind of a small version of what we're going to be dealing with today. So essentially we're making a package so that we can ship art in the mail and it will not get damaged, and it will be easy for whoever's receiving it to open it and make sure that they receive their art all in one piece. So here's a little example of what we'll be doing today. Essentially this is a package constructed with an outside shell of cardboard, and then we have 1-inch insulation foam that's adhered to. And inside this sandwich we have a folder which will contain art that is safely packaged within that folder. So with all these steps, that will ensure that our artwork will arrive to wherever it's going safely. So we'll start right now by constructing the inner folder that will hold that art inside of this shell. So here we have 2 bags of art, prints by Sue Oehme, and each bag has several prints of the same size in it. I've made 2 bags because there are 2 different sizes of prints that we're shipping today. In this case, you're going to want an archival plastic bag, and you want your prints to fit nice and snug inside of them. So these prints actually fit really well into this bag, and I just was able to fold over that flap and tape it. Whereas this bag, I actually had to kind of fold in the sides a little bit of this bag so that the prints are nice and snug in there, and they're not going to shift around. So I've cut 2 pieces of foam core here, and the pieces of foam core are each 3 inches bigger in either direction than the largest prints that we're sending. And that means that the prints will be able to rest inside of this folder with about 1.5 inches on either side, so that they're not really touching the edge of the folder at all. So I'm just lining these 2 boards up. Really nice here. I'm going to take some packing tape. And I'll just do 1 piece of tape right down that middle seam. And then the outer seam, we'll just fold this over. And we'll be using some white duct tape just to bind this right here. I'm just laying this right down on the seam. Now I'll just flip this over and fold this right up against, nice and flush. We don't really want any wrinkles in our tape. Excellent. So now we have our folder composed, and what I'm going to do next is open this folder back up, and I want to create a nice bed for these bags of prints to be taped down onto without ruining the folder. So I'll just tape down, almost like laminating the bottom of this folder, probably around 2 strips in, so that we can tape these prints down and it won't tear up the folder at all. Now I'll do the same thing for this side as well, because in this case we're shipping 2 bags of prints. I have the option to tape the bags on top of each other on this side, but I'm actually going to tape 1 bag of prints to this side of the folder and another on this side, with an indication on the front of the folder that there are 2 bags of prints in there on either side, so that whoever's opening the package will know to open that gently. Now that we have these surfaces laminated here, I'm going to close the folder and actually make straps so that we can seal this folder shut. And then we'll insert the bags and adhere them to these surfaces. So I'm just making, for these straps to essentially close this folder and make sure it stays shut, we are putting packing tape down on this surface here so that we can put duct tape over it and it won't rip up the folder. So I'm just getting 1 piece here and then 1 piece underneath. And then I'll do that, 1 on this edge, 2 here, and then 1 here as well. Okay. Excellent. So now we're going to use some white duct tape just to create some straps to go around the folder. So I'm actually just tearing off a piece of duct tape, and then I'm actually just ripping a little bit of a strip off of that so that this strap will be a little bit smaller than the tape that's protecting the folder. So I'm making a little bit of a tab here, folding the tape over so that we can just gently pull that off, and it will not damage the folder at all, and it'll be pretty user-friendly for whoever's opening this package. Okay. So I like to just mark on each little tab here that it's friendly to pull up, and this is the correct side of the folder to pull up as well. So I will take this bag of prints right here, and it's just going to rest right in the middle of the folder. So our next step is to position this bag right, centered in the folder. And I've cut out these little corners here. So they're just pieces of scrap paper that folded. And these are going to protect the corners of the prints inside the bag. So I'll just position each one of these corners, sliding it underneath the bag. And there we go. So our next step is going to be to tape this down to the surface of the folder. So I'm just using packing tape once again, and I'm measuring out the length. This is fairly important just to remember to use little tape tabs just for whoever's unpacking this. It'll make it a lot easier for them. So I'm just gently positioning this tape and pressing it down against the bag and these corners onto the surface of the folder as well. So there's one piece of tape. And again, I'm just going to use this little Sharpie here to indicate that this is the side of the tape that they should pull to take the prints out of the bag. So I'll do this along all the edges of the bag. And another indication here. Excellent. So now we have all the prints secure inside the folder. We are one step closer to being able to fabricate a shell to put the folder inside of to ship. So I'm going to gently close this folder. I'm going to seal it up. Nice and tightly. And I'm just going to take a little sticker label here and indicate that there are prints on both sides of the folder. Okay, so now we have our folder all secure and ready with our prints inside of it, and it's time to create our shell that the prints will be sandwiched inside of. So part of this process involves what we went over earlier with the sample package is this 1-inch insulation foam. You can buy it from your local lumber store, maybe even check your hardware store. But this is going to be one of the pieces that really protects our package the most, as well as our cardboard shell. So there's a piece of duct tape on this cardboard just because there was a crease, and I just wanted to secure that and fortify it as best as I could before adhering it to our insulation foam. So our first step to making the shell is to cut a piece of cardboard you're going to want your insulation foam first to be 2 inches in either direction, vertically and horizontally, bigger than your folder. So I made a little diagram here for our prints. The largest prints were 33 by 28, meaning that our folder, which the prints are in, is going to be 31 by 36. That's 3 inches bigger than the prints. And then our package here is going to be 2 inches in either direction larger than our folder. That's just so that there's 1 inch of wiggle room, not necessarily that the folder should wiggle at all, but 1 inch on either side just to protect the folder inside of this shell. So I'm going to take some duct tape here, and what I'll do is just duct tape the edge lengthwise to the edge of this insulation foam. So I'm just holding this down and pulling the duct tape down towards the edge, making the tape nice and flush. And the reason why our cardboard is going to be just a tiny bit smaller than our insulation foam is so that when the package is in the mail, if it gets bumped or anything, we don't want this cardboard to be jutting over the insulation foam. It could kind of dislodge that cardboard. So we're just making it a little bit smaller than the insulation foam. Okay, so our next step, and I'll explain this right now, the reason behind it is to add packing tape on top of this duct tape. I really prefer to put packing tape on top of any sort of duct tape that's on cardboard. It will peel off over time if you do not use packing tape to go over this duct tape. I've seen just duct tape kind of fray off of cardboard before, so it's my rule of thumb for any piece of duct tape I'm putting on cardboard is to cover with packing tape as well. So I'm just going to do that by going over the edge of the package and actually flipping it upright and coming all the way around in a loop. So I'm going to do this to all of the edges to ensure that the duct tape stays secure. Okay, so now we have one part of our shell all secure, and now we'll just repeat this process with our other piece of insulation foam and cardboard. Excellent. So now we have both of our pieces of our shell, and what I will do next is position our folder, which has our prints and our release form, right in the middle of this package here. And we have just some tape tabs sticking out, so I'll fold that right back in there. So now I'm centering this on the shell, and I'm going to position the top of the shell right on the package here, as to not move the folder too much. And so our next step is to bind the outer shells to one another nice and snug so that the folder does not move at all inside the insulation foam. So I'm just going to scoot this to the edge of the table, and I'm going to make straps of duct tape. So no tabs on this. We're just doing just regular pieces of duct tape, about maybe 10 inches. And I'm just going to center this piece here, and I'm going to put a lot of pressure on this and just kind of yank this piece of duct tape down like a latch. And so now I'll go to the opposite side of the package, and I'll make another one of these and really try to make sure that this package is nice and snug. So I'm pushing down again, pulling that strap down, and now I'll just go to this edge here. And depending on the size of the package, I like to make as many straps as I find necessary. And in this case, for a larger package, I'm going to do 5 straps on this side and 3 on this side. So that should be enough to keep this package shut. Okay, so now with respect to the duct tape that's exposed on the cardboard, I'm going to again wrap with packing tape around each of the edges so that this duct tape is covered. And I'm actually going to only do one loop, and then I'll just use an X-Acto blade to cut off the slack. Okay, so now that we have all these duct tape straps covered, I'm just going to go around the package and lightly with a blade as to not cut into the cardboard, just to cut these little pieces of tape off so that they're not exposed and that they stay nice and snug under that packing tape. Excellent. So now that we have all of our straps taped down, our last step to securing this package is going to be taping around the edge of this package with packing tape. So I'm going to flip this package on its edge here. And maybe I'll start like this. We're just going to go along the center of the package. And then once I get all the way around, I'll do several more layers of this tape, making sure the entire edge is covered. So our last step here is really just to indicate how the client or whoever is opening this package should open the package. So I'm going to just draw a line that's dashed along the edge here. And then the client will be able to use a blade to gently open this package to receive the contents inside. So that's the process of packing artwork in a flat pack. It's really not just for printmaking, but for any works on paper. This is an ideal process to make sure that whatever you're sending gets to where it's going safely. And that's, we take a lot of pride in our packaging here at Oehme Graphics. If you have any questions for us regarding this process or anything else packing-wise, we're happy to answer any questions or comments. And be sure to follow our YouTube page. So we'll be making these installments of videos regularly covering all sorts of practices in our print shop. Again, I'm Benson at Oehme Graphics. Thanks for joining us.